Hi, John.
Figured we'd start with a little bit of music before we get going today.
Nice. How's the puppy?
Oh, doing awesome. They're tearing
Yeah.
the house apart and each other.
Oh, of course. Well, that's good. They'll keep you on your toes.
That's the truth.
Hey, I asked Beth to join us today. I wanted her to see the value of this awesome group.
Who's joining us?
Beth.
Oh, hi.
Hi, all blurred out in the back.
Sorry.
Christina's got her,
I got my
her camera
blur
blurred.
on. I'm gonna take the blur off. Hey, John, do you think we can go over that? I would really like to learn that I can sell your house for nothing FSBO script, and I can't seem to pinpoint where it is in any of the videos. If it's like a written down something, I would really love that, because I'm kind of hesitant in calling FSBO, but because I want to use that. But I can't, in my mind, as you know, I'm not a numbers person. I can't figure it out. I can't hear you either.
All right, is that any better? There we go.
Yes, yeah.
All right, so which one do you want to cover again?
It's the FSBO script of if I could sell your house for nothing.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I actually have FSBO written down today.
Yes. And you know what others, yeah, I would love to. I think, and a lot of people remember last week when I said, I put it in the chat, and then all of a sudden I have people chatting to me to say, where's that script? I need it. I'm like, I don't know. I just know that it's there.
Now, remember, all of these are going to be posted on Denny's Mastery of Real Estate page on Facebook. So you'll be able to go back and see all of them. So if you have, you happen to like today, what happens today, go back and rewatch it. It's a great tool. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've been. And,
Good.
And the other script that I love, which I got from Megacam, was the one of asking for referrals.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you like that?
Like
that,
the promise script or something.
Jeff Glover did.
Yeah.
Now, were you in person or were you watching from?
No, we were streaming it in the office.
There
that
is
to
nothing
me,
better. I'm going to encourage you, and I love the fact that you're plugging in. This is awesome. So thank you for plugging into all these things. The tools are here, and until you plug in, they sit in a box and collect rust.
Oh
so
no, I've got it printed. I have them taped all over in my home office because, and then when I'm sitting at the light, I'm looking at it because I did it for one of my buyers today after we're going through this, and I just wanted to test the water. So I just said, you know, I'm going to give you 10 plus service and I have everything for you. And I'm going to treat you, we're going to go through this together. And I want to ask you a favor. And then I did. And I said, you know, you're going through this process now. So you're going to be aware of people who are wanting to buy houses or sell houses as well. The favor I'm going to ask you is when you hear that, please contact me and give me their information, because I want to be able to help them as well, because referrals are my lifeblood and this is how I love to do business. And they were all in. Yes.
It's awesome, isn't it?
It's just, and that was just not the tip of the iceberg of that script.
Right.
So that was
and the
good.
more you have that conversation, the more natural it becomes. You know, there is a part of your brain, believe it or not, there is a part of your brain that makes you aware of your surroundings that have always been there and you never actually had to look at until you needed it. And here's what it's called. It's called the Reticular Activator. All right. Think of it this way. You bought a car before, right, Augustina?
Yep.
Now, what do you drive right now?
I drive a Hyundai something.
Okay. So
Tucson.
Before you bought your Hyundai Tucson,
Yeah.
how many Hyundai Tucsons did you see on the road?
None.
How many are there?
Loads.
They're everywhere,
They're
aren't they?
everywhere.
They're
All different
absolutely
colors.
everywhere.
Yep.
So that is the key to having that conversation. I love the fact, I'm going to put that down to make sure we cover that today. That conversation that Jeff Glover did on the stage was amazing. And guess what? It's easy, isn't it?
It's so easy. It's so easy.
It really is. Reminder, guys, if your name shows up on the screen as Sherry, I know you're not. So please take a moment and change your name by clicking on the 3 dots on the top right-hand side of your little box and change your name to your name. Thanks, Bridget. All right, so we had a FSBO and a referral request. What else do you guys want to cover today? We're waiting a last minute or two before we start. Thank you, Julie, for changing that. And Julie, where are you located?
No, you got it.
I'm in Naples.
You're where?
Naples.
You're here in Naples with a 970? Sweet. I thought you were in Colorado and just wishing you were in the.
Well, I was in Colorado 30 years, so I'm new to this area.
Awesome. Yeah, I recognize the cell phone extension there. So terrific. Don Aldridge, how you doing? Long time no see. It's been like a day and a half.
At least, yeah. Good to see you.
You too,
Thank you
bud.
for the referral.
Yeah, that's so. Don and I just got back from Mega Camp in Austin, and was able to land a referral for Don while we were out there. So it was awesome.
It was funny. I got a text from somebody I didn't know because I didn't have John's number in my phone. Said, "Who handles buyers out in Phoenix?" And I was like, "Me, us," And so I texted that, and 10 seconds later, I ran into John, and John said, "Hey, that was me. So you're in my phone now, John. You qualify."
Well, I actually feel very special now, Don. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, guys, it's 1 o'clock and we have an appointment 1. Let's go ahead and get started. Denny is on vacation with his wife, Kristen. They are near Belize. They are actually on a private island, apparently, and have some internet service. But you know what? If I was on a private island, I would rather be focusing my efforts on the private island and possibly a rum or bourbon drink, as opposed to, don't take this wrong, opposed to hanging out with you fine folk. You need some recovery time. I'm glad they have an opportunity to do that. So let's get at it. And guys, we're going to do the same thing we did last week. This is participation. This is how we get better. I know it's uncomfortable, and I hope you're okay with me calling a couple people out. First, I want to give kudos to Keith. Keith, you have been plugging in on all these calls, and you are absolutely crushing it. I love seeing that, and I love seeing your growth. Thank you. And Augustina, same with you. Love the fact that you're on here, you're plugging in, you're bringing friends. And why don't you introduce her again, because now that we can see who she is and not blurt out.
Hi, I'm Beth.
Hi, Beth. So we have a few topics that came in from requests and a few things that I've been seeing out in the market. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Our topics today are going to be expireds. For sale by owners. The statement, we're going to wait till the market recovers. That covers both buyers and sellers, because a seller recovery as prices go up, a buyer's recovery as the prices go down. How do you drop the price with your seller? Waiting for the interest rates to recover. And the one we're going to start with first, Ms. Augustina just broke out. We learned at Mega Camp, which she attended remotely, Jeff Glover talked about a referral script on how to get more referrals from your database and your clients. So let me ask you this. Would your life be easier? Would your business run smoother if you worked with more people just like your favorite clients? Auditory, guys. Let's get off microphone here, unless you got a lot of background noise. Let's hear it.
Yes.
Would your
Absolutely.
business, things would be a lot easier, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so Augustina, since you wanted to cover this, I'm going to have you be the agent.
Okay.
And I'm going to be your client. We'll start it off nice and easy. All right. And go ahead and teach everybody the basics of this script that Jeff Glover presented on stage on Tuesday.
Okay. Okay,
Or
John, as we're going through the process, I just want to commit to you that I'm going to give you 10 plus service. That means that I'm going to take you, we're going to go together through this process of finding your perfect home. I've got all of the connections. I network all over the place. So I have everybody that you need to be successful in going through the process of closing on your home. The thing that I'm going to ask you is, first of all, would you do me a favor?
Sure.
John, you know, as you're going through the process of buying a home, you're probably going to be hearing other people have conversations about buying homes or possibly selling homes, or people who are interested in learning more about the market. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, you know, I'm sure that when people hear that I'm doing something, that the conversation will come up.
Mm-hmm. So my favor would be that when you do come across people who are talking about the market, thinking about selling their homes or buying a home, would you please let me know about it? And if you would give me their name and their contact information, whether it's by email, text, or carrier pigeon, I don't care. I'd love to be able to help them the way I'm helping you right now. Would you do me that favor?
Yeah, absolutely. I hadn't thought of it, but it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You know, John, referrals are the lifeblood of my business. I love working with people like yourself. That's what gives me so much joy. And I think, and I'm pretty successful with the way I do business. And I know that we're going to get you in the home that you want. And I would love to do that for other people. So would you do me a favor and just keep that in mind when you're going through your day-to-day business and do that for me?
Of course.
Okay, I would appreciate it. And even if once we get to the closing table, because I'm going to remind you from time to time, just so that it keeps fresh in your mind. And if we get to the closing table and I haven't really, you know, and we weren't able to connect with any referrals, I'm going to ask to have a conversation with you to ask you, like, what could I have done better that would give you the confidence to be able to refer me? Because I want to know, I want to do my job better, and I want to be able to serve you and serve others like I'm serving you now. So you might want to get ready for that conversation.
Okay. All right. Augustina,
Thanks,
great
John.
job. Great
Mhm.
job. Now, you just learned this script on Wednesday,
Mhm.
right? Here's the interesting thing about this script, guys. This is not an objection handling script. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
This is not your typical acknowledge, isolate, address, close. And my microphone has got a mind of its own today. I apologize for that. It is not the typical type of conversation that we normally have when trying to have a price reduction or help somebody see things from a different angle. This is a lead generation script. Has anyone used this before or something similar? Okay, let's back up. Now, I know Augustina hadn't used it before because we were talking about that just before the call started. Augustina, you used this on somebody already this week, right?
About a half an hour ago. Yeah.
Half an hour ago. How'd it go?
Fine. They were so, yes, of course. Of course. Because the only other time I have never used a script for this. I always just said, if you hear of anybody, please let me know. I'd love if you'd spend my name if you hear of anybody. And that just goes in one ear and out the other. But because you're asking them to do you a favor, you're bringing them in, and it's kind of like a commitment.
Yeah.
You know, that we're in this together, and I would love if you would, you know, do me a favor.
It's you took the basic, hey, would you send people my way?
Mhm.
And you amplified that. So when we're talking about filling our pipeline and the dreaded lead generation word, oh my God, Sandra's favorite part of this business. And I can call Sandra out a little bit. I've known her for about 5 years. So, and if she gets upset with me, she's going to punch me in Scottsdale in a couple of weeks. Anyway, the dreaded lead generation. Now, the lead generation can be fun. So think about, guys, think about your opportunities. And instead of just saying, hey, if you know anybody, would you send them my way? In depth, this is what I'm going to do for you. And I expect this in return. Now, she didn't say it, I expect. She set the tone Say, you're going to be hearing people talk about real estate once they find out what you're doing. I'd really appreciate your help. Are you willing to do that? Yes. Oh, and by the way, we get to the closing table and you haven't done it. I'm going to ask you what I did wrong. Now, do you think that me as a client at a closing table, knowing that conversation is coming, might feel like I didn't do my job along the way? So I got somebody, Augustina just took care of the biggest financial transaction I'm ever going to have in my life. And all she wants is the name and number of somebody who might be needing the same help. I don't have the courtesy to do that for her. That's me as a person. I would have an issue with. I would feel bad myself about that. So the way that Jeff Glover teased that up, that's where she got the script from, was Jeff Glover on Wednesday. The way that Jeff teased that up is beautifully done. Beautifully done. I know some of you came in late, but those that had the ability to hear most of that conversation, what are your takeaways from that?
John, one thing I want to mention too is that, and I've got to do a better job at this. And it was another gentleman later on with the promise, from the panel about the promise, and he was role playing with Gary, and he said, and so John, thank you for doing that. And John, so this is just the tag end, John, so that there's 100% chance that I contact your referral. Will you either email, phone me, or text me their name and contact info, so I have 100% chance of reaching out to them?
Yep. So that statement there, let's tear that one apart, because I love that. And Don, thank you for bringing that up. I also don't remember who's the one who used it. Big guy. Yeah, big guy on the left side of the stage there. He's making a commitment in that statement, isn't he? Give me their name, number, and email. There is a 100% chance they will be contacted. So that now says, I am going to follow up in your trust in me, and I will follow up and do my part also. That's really powerful, guys. Really powerful.
Because we all have people that say, hey, John, I see John at the gym. Hey, John, I gave your name out to those people. Did they ever call you? No. Who was it? I don't know. I don't remember. I gave your name out. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
This gets over that. I forgot the guy's name, but he was with Mike Hicks, who was the originator of the promise.
Yep.
That's where that came from.
Yep. And it's really, really powerful. And it's so simple, and yet we leave that on the table. So quick statistics.
And John, so do they. They think they're doing us a favor by giving our name out. They don't realize that those people probably aren't ever going to call us. So it's up to us to ask, hey, just so there's 100% chance, John, that I contact your referral, would you also please email, text me, or call me with their contact numbers, info.
That's awesome. Absolutely love it. All right. Any other ahas before we move on to the next one?
I think using the reticular activating system was cool. Like the whole, now that you're in real estate, buying a home, you're going to be running into people that are also doing the same thing that you didn't notice before.
Yep. Thank you for that, Keith. And for those that jumped on a little late, the best way to describe reticular activator, that point in your brain that helps you see things you've never seen before. Desi, since you're listed as Sherry, I'm going to call you out. Desi, what kind of car do you drive?
I drive a Toyota Avalon.
Awesome. How long have you driven that for?
About 4 years.
Okay. So this could be a stretch for memory. So before you bought the Avalon, how many Avalons did you see on the road? Versus now when you own the Avalon, especially the day you drive it off of the lot.
Yeah, none.
Yeah, I mean, I bought a forest green Ford Explorer back in, and this is how long I've been doing this, guys. I've been talking reticular activator for 30 years now. When I bought my forest green Ford Explorer, there were none of them on the road. It was the only one I'd ever seen. It was beautiful. I drove off the lot and like 14 drove right in front of me. I just had never seen them before. Why? Because my brain subconsciously was tuning them out, was not looking for them. So the whole point of this is your buyers and sellers don't hear the real estate conversation until it's in the front of their mind, and then their mind will react when they hear somebody talking about it. That's when you use that script we just covered about getting referrals and adding Don's punch at the end. Give me their name, number, and email so there is a 100% chance we will connect. Make sense? All right, for sale by owners, let's chat for sale by owners. Who's talking with them right now? Who's actively looking? We're all passively looking for sale by owner to call us up and say, Natalie, please come in and rescue me. I know I can't do this. Who's actively calling for sale by owners right now? First question I have is why not?
I will call as soon as I learn that if I could sell your house for nothing script.
Awesome. You know what? I would do it too. If I could sell my house for nothing, if I could sell your house or you could sell my house for nothing, dude, do it. So since you did the first one, Augustina, you're off the hook. Who remembers that script? Break it down to the simple, to the tiny. It's the same concept when you're talking with buyers, guys. If you could buy this house and you only had to give up 2 cups of Starbucks a week, would you do it? Well, let me show you how that works. It works the same way with for sale by owners. Who remembers the script or the basis of it?
Well, John, I believe I do.
All right, Don, let's do it. I'm going to actually ask Sandra Marconi to be the seller in this case.
Okay.
It's easy, Sandra. You're just being the seller. And
Well,
yes, you'll still be able to hit me in Scottsdale.
She's got the easy part. And I have in the past done lots of sales with for sale by owners. Just getting back into that now as we got the, what's the service?
What, Red X or whatever one you're using? Yeah.
Yeah, they just got it for us. Not Red X,
or
but
whoever it is.
Land Voice. Yeah. So
to
I'm going to
tee
get
it
back.
up, Don, you guys, to tee it up, you guys can be face to face or on the phone. Sandra's objection is, I don't want to pay the commission.
Yeah, I'll be face to face.
Okay.
So
And
she let me, as most buy owners will do, guys. Most of the time they'll say, well, if you have a buyer, I'll pay you 3% or 2% or whatever they say. I say, great. Well, when can I see it? And they're going to say, come on over. Maybe you already said, well, I'm not going to list it. I just want you to look at it in case you have any buyers. So not to have any false pretenses. Great. So I show up and who am I with, Sandra? Okay. Yep. I see you now. Okay. That helps. All right. So Sandra, you invited me over just to say, I'm going to look at it and then we're going to have a conversation. So we've looked at the house. So Sandra, again, thank you for allowing me to come over and take a look at the home. And I will certainly go back and tell the members of my team about it and anybody else that we come across. I just want to be square with you right now to make sure I understand. So if we bring you a buyer at $610,000, you said you'd pay 3% on a $610,000 offer. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I'd rather do between 2 and 2.5, just because that's the easy side of everything.
Okay. All right. So bottom line though, we bring you an offer at 610, you're going to pay us something 2.5, somewhere in there, correct?
Sure. Yes.
And hey, if I brought it for 650, would you pay me more?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Well, I'm just trying to have a little fun with this, so at least I know the possibilities of that. So again, to refresh me, you're moving back to Massachusetts, right?
Yes.
she hates Massachusetts, for the record. However,
Sorry,
Come
it's her husband's job transfer, and maybe it's a divorce coming too. So maybe I got 2 for the price of 1. So Sandra, you are moving back to Massachusetts, whether you like it or not, right?
I guess so, Don. So you say.
Yeah. Okay. And what's the deadline that you absolutely have to be there?
By the first of the year.
So by the first of the year. So we're at the 1st of September right now. And you're aware it takes a month and a half to get a property closed, correct?
Not in Texas, it doesn't, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, the worst case, I mean, cash could be 3 weeks. Financing it might be 4, might be 6 weeks. But let's work worst case scenario. So that means we've got to get a buyer here under contract no later than mid-November, because you want to be back there. You got to be back there with this house being closed by the first of the year, right?
Right.
Okay, so that means the property really has to go under contract at the latest, say mid-November. Okay, so you've got September, October, so you got about 10 weeks to really find a buyer and get this property sold. How long are you going to, and again, I'm not saying you won't do it yourself, and we're happy to bring you a buyer in that time frame. To do my job, Sandra, if it doesn't work, how long are you going to try to do this yourself for, knowing you have less than 10 weeks?
You know, being that I have a degree in marketing, I know how to market my home, and I know that it's in primo condition model home status. So I know it's important for us to have good photos, and I've already got a photographer lined up for that. And I would say that within a month, 4 to 5 weeks, I could have my own buyer.
Okay. Hey, you might have one tomorrow, as nice as this
I
house
sure
is.
could.
Yep. And please understand, I'm not one of those agents telling you that you can't do it or that it won't happen. What I wanted to just say is what happens if that doesn't happen. And hey, kudos to you to have the marketing degree. How many homes have you sold?
About 5.
Okay. And have you sold all 5 of them by owner, or have you hired an agent like me in the past?
No, I've sold them myself.
You've sold them all yourself. Good. So you have a good track record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So do I. I've sold a couple of thousand. So, and again, if we can bring you a buyer, we know what the terms are. But if it doesn't happen, if no matter how great the marketing is, if the market is different from what you think you know now and what I think I know now, what are you going to do if you don't have a buyer come October 1st?
You know, I guess my husband and I will sit down and discuss it at that time. You know, I mean, our goal is to be there by the first of the year. I mean, it's not like life will end if we're not there. So we will probably reevaluate at that time.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is about 30 days. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're already willing to pay 2.5% of the sales price, right?
Right.
Good. So we're really just talking about the other 2.5 or 3% that you're trying to save yourself. Is that correct?
Sure.
Yeah. What happens if I could actually net you that money now, the same amount of money now, by putting it on the market?
How would you go about doing that, Dawn?
By getting your home sold. Do you want to talk about it?
You tell me how you can go about doing that, and we'll have a conversation about it.
Sure.
What are you going to do differently in your marketing that I'm not doing in mine?
Well, again, I'm not a marketing expert, but I have sold a couple of thousand homes. So would you agree that, how many agents did you talk to on the phone about your house?
About this particular home?
Yeah.
3.
So of the 80,000 agents here in Phoenix, only 3 have called you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how many of those 3 have come out to see you in person?
All 3.
All 3. Good. All right. And of the 3 that you've met so far, are we all equal?
No, because the vast majority of them kind of don't know their head from their foot. So they were just looking to pick up another listing.
Right. Right. And it isn't about picking up another listing. It's about netting you the most money in the least convenient time to get you to Massachusetts.
All right. Time out just a second, Don. I'm going to help it along a little bit.
Sure.
Okay. I just want to ask 2 questions.
She's being very real, by the way.
She is being very real. And she is also being very high D, which she has a tendency to do also.
Rude.
So,
True.
Sandra, I have 2 questions for you, and then I'm going to let Don roll with it from here. Sandra, let me ask you, you sound like somebody who really watches their money and holds their money accountable. So let me ask you, are you more interested in saving money or making money?
Both.
What's more important to you?
Both.
Well, you can't choose both.
Why
I mean, you
can't
could-
I choose both, John?
Well, you could save a nickel But what
It's
if,
very important to our family to make money and to save money.
okay, so at the end of the day, what's the most important thing for you on the sale of this house? What you sell the house for, what you put in your pocket at the end.
What I put in my pocket.
Okay, awesome. Love that. Thank you. So now what we just got from Sandra is we can overcome the commission objection. So Sandra, you've brought up that you would obviously pay an agent who brings you. We appreciate that. Thank you. Let me ask you if I could show you that by hiring me, I'm at no cost to you. Would that intrigue you?
I mean, as realtors, you hear all types of information coming out of your mouths. And we all know that you're salesmen or women. And to see the proof in the pudding, you can tell me anything you want to, but until I see proof that what you're saying you can do, I just don't buy it, John.
Not a problem. And that's, I wasn't asking for anything other than an acknowledgement that if I could show you that by hiring me will not cost you anything and may put more money in your pocket, would you be willing to listen?
Well, of course, I'm always willing to listen. I'm just more curious to see what you could really do.
Awesome. And now, Don, that's where you would take over, or do you want me to continue the conversation from here? You tell me.
Go ahead. You're doing great.
Okay. So
Thanks, Don.
So Sandra, we've already, and this is, guys, I'm going to kind of break this down as we go. Would that be okay if I kind of go in and out of character here?
Hey, John, can I ask one question? Because
go for it.
And another way sort of to ask that too is, so Sandra, I appreciate all you're saying to me. Let me ask you this. What's more important to you? The money or the move?
Well, it's definitely the money because I don't want to go to Massachusetts. So
Thank you for acknowledging.
Don.
I just wanted to make it sure that we're dealing with the right half of that. So the money.
There you
okay,
go.
John, there you go.
Okay. So Sandra, we've already established that if an agent brings you a qualified buyer with an offer that nets you at or more than you are looking to net, that you would compensate that buyer in that 2 to 2.5% range.
Yeah.
Okay. Silly question. You said 610. So if somebody brought you an offer at 630, and in that offer, the compensation was 3% instead of 2%, what would you say?
I mean, I would sit down and look at it. I would want to know that it's a truly qualified buyer and not somebody who's just going to come in at 6:30 and then beat me up on inspections and stuff like that. And back down.
I just wanted to be sure that over that extra $6,000 in commission, you weren't going to turn away $15,000 in profit.
No, I mean, that would be kind of ignorant to do so.
Okay. Okay. And I appreciate you acknowledging that. So what we're really talking about is saving 3% on the sale of your home. And yeah, congratulations again. It's awesome that you sold 5 homes on your own. You may be interested to know, and you will have this face-to-face with her, guys, especially the high D, high C that she is a very rare combination. And those, when you get to meet her, you'll understand that Sandra's a rare combination. I'm getting myself in so much trouble.
Really, John, you're going from face plant to throat chop.
I so love you, Sandra. So you will have the stats that show that.
And by the way, I'm a DI. I'm not a DC.
Well, so. You're acting like a DC.
Well, deal with it.
So you will have that data that shows that over 90% of for sale by owners use at least one real estate agent in the transaction. All right. Before we get going, Desi has a quick question. Her hand is raised. Go ahead, Des.
Yes, and I may be jumping the gun, but in market today, I don't know if everybody else has seen this, but we can't get them higher than what their price is. Their price is usually higher than what the market is right now.
Yeah. So Des, thank you for bringing that up. The point of that was to get Sandra focused on the net, not on the sales price. We don't know if we're going to have an offer that's higher than what she's asking. You know, in my experience, most for sale by owners are grossly overpriced.
Correct.
On occasion, there's one that isn't, and maybe Sandra's that one. Okay. What the whole point is to get her realizing this is about the net. So everything, every conversation that I'm having with her is going to get her thinking logically on the net. The logic makes her think. Then we can go to the emotions at the end of her and her husband living apart because of his job transfer. Now, Dom is an awesome guy. She does not want to live apart from him. I know Dom would never take a place in Massachusetts, so there's kind of a, it's interesting to pick that, Don. You made it really hard on us, but that's okay. So Sandra, what we're really talking about is about 3%. And like I said, it's awesome that you have been able to sell 5 homes on your own. And that's great, because guess what? There are very few people that can say that. And of those 5, how many times was there another real estate agent involved?
Probably 3.
Okay. Okay. So this is realistic. This is something that you've seen before. Awesome. And, you know, Sandra, like I said, we have sold, last year alone, we sold 365 homes. Our team has sold regionally almost 10,000 homes, and nationally, we've sold somewhere in the vicinity of 40 or 50,000 homes throughout our team's career. So do you think, with the knowledge pool and experience that we have to pull on, that maybe, just maybe, we could negotiate 1 or 2% better for you?
There's a high probability with those stats that you could.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Now, guys, side note, we only have to recover 2%, not 6. We've gotten 4 already. Now, Sandra, you mentioned earlier about concerns with inspections, and you know what? I have those too. And when we represent sellers, we are experts at negotiating terms for inspections. Do you think that just possibly our experience could help you save some money on inspections? I've seen inspections be as much as 2 or 3% of the sales price. Do you think we might be able to save you 1% with our expertise in there?
I mean, possibly. I've already had a pre-inspection done, you know, just because my husband's pretty anal retentive about everything. So we have to go and have that done. So I had that in order to present, and anything that was called out, we've already taken care of. So that part, yeah, no, you probably wouldn't save any money there.
Okay. And you listen, things break all the time. So the next inspection, there might be something different.
Sure.
Okay. And how about when it comes to the appraisal? Have you had to renegotiate appraisals before in those 5 transactions you've done?
No, because we've been pretty spot on with we've done our homework.
Awesome. And again, with the amount of experience and leverage that we have inside the team, in a market that's going the direction that it's going in, do you think our expertise might help prevent that issue from coming up?
In what way do you think your team could help prevent that issue from coming up?
Well, specifically, right now, the market is trending downward in list price to sell price ratio. Our average is about 2.5% above the market average.
But most of the economists, John, are saying that house pricing is not going down. You know, interest rates are going to be fluctuating. I mean, obviously, this is going to be a jumbo loan for somebody who buys it, potentially. So
which is awesome, because believe it or not, jumbo rates are less than conventional rates right now. They
very much are. So just kind of across the nation, you know, especially here in Texas, you know, we're not seeing a decline in pricing.
Yep. And, you know, economists can be saying that. And the reality of it is, according to our MLS, is the list price to sales price ratio is dropping. And we are 2.5% better than the market. So again, coming to our experience is showing that we are getting 2 to 2.5% more than the average agent based on list price to sell price.
Do you have stats to show that?
Yep. And by the way, guys, if you don't have that, don't show it. Okay? If you don't have it, don't show it. Or maybe use your own personal stats instead of your team stats. Use whichever one is the best leverage. Use your office versus the board. There is a way to come up with this. It does not have to be You, your team, your office, pick whichever one you can show will deliver that. And the whole point is now, again, Sandra's being very tough, and I love that. The whole point of this is you're getting them to think, wait a second, this organization sells 2,000 homes a year, 50,000 homes in their career. Maybe I'm missing something. So Sandra, we're 2 to 2.5% better than the market. Let's just be conservative and say we can get you 1%. Would that be helpful?
Sure.
Okay. And so we've just saved you the commission cost. And guess what else we get to save you?
Do tell.
All of your time, your energy, and the risk involved with marketing and selling a home, which is probably worth a lot more than 6% to you, isn't it?
Hang on, I'm thinking of something to say.
You really don't have much to say at this point, because that's kind of like the mic drop. Once you save the money.
Well, okay, Mr. John. I do work from home.
Yep.
And so showing the home is really of no issue.
Okay.
So the bottom line is where I think I could see your team coming in and being an asset is in making sure that the buyer is truly qualified and not just a looky-loo, as y'all call it in your industry.
Well, there's that. And how about making sure that I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and deadlines are met throughout the entire process?
I understand you, and you have to understand that I'm married to an engineer, and all I's and T's have been dotted and crossed. So
he's also a triathlete, so sometimes he wants to train. This is where knowing your client comes in.
Really good looking too. So
well, I'll let you be the judge of that one. So, all right, guys.
So yes, I will agree that part of it would be helpful.
Okay, awesome. So not only do we not cost you anything, we help you. What else do you need to see before you make the right decision?
I'd love to see your stats.
Awesome.
Boom. And recommendations.
Boom. Here's a pen. It's a ballpoint. Press hard. 3 copies, because I've been around since the day where we actually used 3-copy carbon. So that is, Augustina, that is a long drawn out version of the breaking. Okay. Was it helpful? Was it helpful that Sandra was being tough and being, this is real, guys. This is how it's going to be in the field. All right.
They really are. They're really grouchy people, I think.
So anyone else have anything to add on that?
The last person I met was you, Sandra. You were it. And I was walked away because I didn't have the script in me. So can I say something?
I don't even do for sale by owners because they're so grouchy.
Don, go ahead, Don.
That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to ask Sandra, how many FSBOs have you worked with? And I would have guessed that answer, and that's perfectly okay. So what I want to say to the rest of the group, she was real for a while, but then she started dumping every objection onto John and me that she knows as a real estate agent, right? And that's what real estate agents do in role plays. A real person, she was real, but she wouldn't have brought up, I've worked with hundreds of buy owners. Guys, don't be scared of them. Sandra was tougher than 99% of the buy owners. If you could just get in with them, have a conversation, ask the questions that both John and I did, they might give you 1 or 2 objections, but the whole job is to get in and see them, have a conversation with them, because most agents won't. They'll call them, they won't go see them, and have that conversation, and they will see that you are different. They are not as tough as she was. She was Texas tough.
She was Texas tough. There's no doubt.
That was a tough steak, right? That was dry.
Sorry,
so no. It's great training, great practice, and I may get you on a role play with me because she's great to role play that. But I'm just saying, for you agents who haven't called by owners, once you get, especially when you get in front of them face to face, a lot of it goes down after a couple of minutes, and you just take their initial objection, and if you can handle it, you're going to get business from it. So don't be scared of calling a buy owner. Sandra is not typical. Okay.
Yep.
Call them and just go see them.
Before I get to you here, one other thing to keep in mind, guys, especially when dealing with a high D like Sandra was there. High Ds are very quick to make a decision, and they're very slow to admit if their line of thinking isn't correct.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to, when I asked the question, and Sandra, when I ask this question, ask me what I mean. Okay. So Sandra, let me ask you, are you more interested in saving money or making money?
What do you mean?
Well, really what I'm trying to find out, Sandra, is what's more important to you? Do you want bragging rights when you're out to dinner with your buddies to say that you didn't have to use the real estate agent to sell your house? Or are you more concerned about what the bank says at the end of the day and what's in there?
Well, of course, what the bank says.
Okay. And the reason I use that line, off script now, the reason I use that line, guys, is it gets people to think, wait a second. Am I really that arrogant that I'm willing to leave $10,000 or $20,000 on the table just to say I beat Sandra? No. So don't be afraid to disarm that person that's digging their heels in. Because you know what? No other agent's going to ask them that question. Nobody's got the nuts to say to them, say, you really just want to go to the club and brag, or do you want to sell your house? And it's totally okay to say that.
Well, we don't go to clubs. I mean,
You go to the shooting range. It's a different story. All right, Desi, what do you got?
Okay, so we're going in with the intent of because she said up front that she was willing to pay a 2 to 2.5%.
Yep.
Right. So I see where that comes from. So now we're gaining. So I saw that little capture there. So that was pretty good. Then it went up to 4%. I missed that.
Okay. So there were a couple things I did there. First is I wanted to make sure, well, if I bring you an offer that's higher than you're expecting, are you willing to pay me my normal rate of 3%?
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I had to recapture that percentage there.
Okay.
The next step is experience. Great. You sold 3 homes on your own. Awesome. Do you think that our team collectively has the experience to maybe negotiate 1% better because we sell 2,000 homes a year as opposed to 5 in our life?
Mm-hmm.
That captures the 1%. Home inspection is the second, third, and lastly is the appraisal and paperwork and qualifying. All of these things you can use, and all you're doing is asking for 1% each time. And guess what? If you use them all separately, you can gain 7 or 8%. And you know what's really interesting? I don't know where the document is, so don't ask me for it today. I will find it. I have a study that was done probably 8 or 10 years ago from an independent accounting firm that was curious. And now the study's like 80 pages long. They were curious. Said, do for sale by owners net more than using a professional real estate agent? And they studied decades of data from every angle that you possibly could. Yes, Dominic Marconi would be thrilled with this study. Okay. Guess what they found? Between 6.5% and 7% is what for sale by owners leave on the table by selling on their own. And that's before.
Didn't the guy that established for sale by owner, didn't he wind up hiring a realtor to sell his house as well?
Yes. The guy who established Fizbo.com hired an agent, and Zillow was 30% off of the CEO's actual price, 30% under the actual price of his house. So as much as people want to think that, the Google machine and everything attached to it knows what's going on, it doesn't. It doesn't. Desi, good seeing you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Just got to take off. So, all right. Was that helpful, Augustina? Did that help you get some clarity on that? Great. All right. So another one that we're talking about today is expireds. Who's hitting expireds? I know that Landvoice, Redex, and Vulcan are out there everywhere. Terry? What do you got?
Just a quick question on the FSBOs. So if you get the listing, and to everyone's point, and because I've had 2 so far that I've gotten, do you go with the price that they initially had once you get it? Because just like most people have commented, most of them are overpriced to begin with. So now you've talked yourself into getting the listing.
Mhm.
What price do you convince them to go with?
Well, first of all, we don't convince them to go with any price. Okay. We're all motivation based.
Well,
I
how do
know
we get them to realize they're overpriced?
That we're going to, that's really easy. Augustina, don't hold it up yet. Just get ready. So I know Sandra doesn't want to move to Massachusetts in this case. However, her motivation is to stay married because she loves Dom, and she's going to move because she loves her husband that much. So there's motivation. Yes, Terry, that is exactly it. So Terry, I know you want to sell your house for $610,000. Awesome. If we can agree on $610,000, can we do business today?
Yes.
Simple. Now, Terry, let me ask you, what happens when we expose the property to the market if the market says no?
What do you mean?
Pull out the three sheet, the 3-up sheet. Well, Terry, when we go to market, one of three things invariably is going to happen. Are you aware what they are?
Yes, you showed
No,
me.
you're a seller. You have no idea.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we already met. No, I have no idea.
Okay, well, do you mind if I share with you?
Go right ahead.
Awesome. So one of three things is going to happen. We're going to put it on the market. People are going to see the property online, and they're going to make a decision whether or not they're going to come and see your home. So the first thing that's going to happen is when we go to market, we're going to have little to no showings. How do you feel about that?
Why would we have little to no showings?
Well, that's market telling us that we're probably off base on price. The second thing that could happen is we're going to have a whole bunch of showings, but nobody's put their foot in and dipped their toe in the water and made an offer. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's not good either.
Okay. And that might be the market saying we're close, but not quite there. And then the third option is we get showings and we get a contract and your property closes. How do you feel about that?
That's what we want.
Okay, great. So when we talk every Monday at 4:00 or whatever time of the week you set to talk to your sellers, when we talk every Monday at 4, I'm going to ask you to pull this sheet back out, Terry, and I'm going to ask you, where do you think we are?
That's
Okay. Awesome. That's how you handle it. It's not hard, guys. If the seller is motivated in a market that's 180-day average sales time and they're priced twice where they should be, if they're motivated, if they're truly motivated, and this is where the skill in this industry comes in, is finding the motivation. They'll adjust their price because they have to sell. Does that make sense? So these are the skills that we work on, is the digging deep in the motivation, keeping them in emotional. We're not going in to promise things that can't be done. Like selling a house, owner finance 10% when interest rates are 2%, to somebody with an 800 credit score. We're not gonna be looking for those home runs that just don't ever happen. We want to develop the skill set to be able to dig deep into motivation and keep people in motivation. And we're gonna, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna have I'll talk to Denny and we'll go to pleasure and pain conversation. See if I can get him to do that next week, where we walk clients through their current reality, where they would like to be. So it's current pain into future pleasure, into future pain, and then back around the horn into completion. Because the reason they're selling is they're in pain. There is some sort of pain that's causing them to sell. What's it going to look like when you sell? Where would you like to be? Awesome. Boom. Well, what happens if that doesn't happen? You don't get to see your grandkids. You have to stay in Massachusetts because you can't sell your house and get out of the state. Whatever the case is. And Sandra, that was for you. You were supposed to laugh at that. You were off cue. So I'll get Denny to prepare to walk through those 4 quadrants next week. Okay.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just so new in all this. I know everybody keeps holding up that sheet, which I don't think I have a copy of, but on your expireds, or even for sale by owner, if you get the listing with expireds, we have taken them at their number, but then we've also written into the listing agreement that on such and such a date, the price is dropping here, because, we'll agree, look, we'll try to get your number. we'll give you 2 weeks, but if we have no offers, no showings, it's an automatic price reduction. And then if that still doesn't work, it's another automatic price reduction.
I love
And
that.
those are in our listing agreement signed off on, and we've had no problem with it.
And what that's doing, guys, is that is getting the seller to agree, we got to change the bait right up front. Says, awesome, we'll do it at your number. No problem at all. If we don't have a certain number of showings by this date, we're going to drop the price. And they're going to ask me, well, what do you think that number is? Well, it's not me. It's what are you comfortable with? Here's another stat you want to know. The average number of showings per listing to pending. And it is available in your MLS. How many showings does it take on average until a property goes pending? And you can fine tune it. You can get really granular and say, okay, this house is, in Sandra's case, it's in the $600,000 to $800,000 range. So great. In this price point, on average, it takes 15 showings for a house to go pending. So in 2 weeks, how many showings do you think we should have, Sandra, to think that we're in the right track if it's going to take 15 showings for this house to sell?
I'm sorry, I really wasn't listening.
I know. That's why I called you back again. So, Sandra,
thank you for sending that over. I appreciate it. I'm trying to get caught up with everything here. Go ahead.
Keith is awesome. He's got a lot of this stuff at his fingertips and shares readily. So Sandra, if it takes 15 showings on average for a home in your price range to sell, at the end of 2 weeks, how many showings do you think, or how many showings would you be comfortable with to know that we're on the right track, that we're at the right price point?
I mean, I would say between 2 and 3.
Okay, so between 2 and 3, that would basically mean, doing some quick math, that you're okay with it taking 60 days or more in order to find a buyer for the home?
Worst case scenario.
Okay, all right. So if we have 2 or 3 showings, then we may not need to reduce the price. But if we have 2 or less, then it might make sense for us to reduce the price in 2 weeks. Okay,
Sure.
and what would you like to reduce it to?
What was I listed at? 610?
What would you like to reduce it to?
Well, what was I listed at? 610?
650. Let's go 650.
650. I would say at that price point, let's go, because of our timeline, we'll be aggressive and go 625.
Okay, awesome. Friendly seller. Okay, great.
Very.
So, yeah, and now if we get to that point, and now we're a month down the road, we're at 625 for 2 weeks. How many showings do you feel that you're going to be comfortable with, knowing we're going to be able to achieve your goals?
I'd say 5 to 6 in a week, because I think that should
Okay.
highly activate more activity.
Okay. So
Because you're going to be doing such an awesome job with your 2008.
and every Monday I'm going to show you what's happening. So
Mhm.
that's awesome. We're
I'm
going to look
looking
at,
forward to those phone calls.
yep, we're going to look at the number of people that have viewed your house and the number of people who elected not to see it in that time frame too. So some of these conversations, Sandra, you and I are going to be uncomfortable for both of us. So I hope you're okay with that. Our goal's the same. Let's get your
I'm
property
fine as
sold
long
and
as
get
you're
yours done.
as long as you're good with being uncomfortable. I'm good.
I
too.
have no problem with it. I was born
I
uncomfortable.
didn't think you would. Good.
So do you want to discuss the second price adjustment now? Or do you want to wait until the month is up to have that conversation?
Well, I feel like you and your team do such an awesome job. When I hire you guys, if I hire you guys, that you should be able to have it sold to where I wouldn't have to have a second reduction.
All right, perfect. So we'll just put the first one in there. Done. And she said, if I hire you guys, by the way, she already agreed to hire me at the 650. So she's backpedaling like every other seller does. So,
You guys,
all right.
you guys, you thought this was going to be a role play. You didn't know you were going to get the Sandra John dinner and a show,
Well, honestly, guys, sometimes it goes this way. And
Yeah.
we really hope that you go back and look at these and you're able to pull out anything that you may have missed. So we got about 7 minutes left. So let's run through some expired conversations real quick. Who is currently...
Hey, John,
Looking-
can I
yeah.
jump in one statement?
Jump in, Don.
Guys, Denny brought this out a couple of months ago. You cannot adjust the price on a listing that you don't have. So Terry, if I've met with a buy owner and they want the 610 and they say, well, I got to add the 3%. It's 630 and it's a decent house and they have motivation, Terry, right? Take the listing and be honest with them and then have these conversations. But you can't sell a house that you don't list.
Yep.
You can't adjust the price down. So in this market, until you get so many listings that don't sell, then you got to get better. But until then, take the listing.
Excellent. Thank you, Donna. Remember, guys, you're not giving them the price in any market. Get better at coaching and coach them to the decisions that they need to make. All right, Keith, are you making expired calls right now? Not actually right now, but you know.
No, I've actually never made an expired call ever.
Oh my
So
God.
this is, I'm paying attention.
All right, Al, how about you?
I'm sorry, John.
Expireds. Do you call expireds?
Yes, I have.
Awesome.
One thing I've always also asked is, how long have you had the home on the market, and how many people have you actually had through?
Awesome. So you're gonna call Natalie.
And
Al, just pick up the phone. Al, just pick up the phone and call Natalie. You're the agent. She's the owner. Her house just expired. It's been on the market for 180 days. And you are the 23rd agent to call her by 9 o'clock in the morning. Julie's laughing. I'm totally serious. It happens. All right. Pick up the phone, Al. Call her. Ring, ring.
Natalie?
Me? My ladies? Yes.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
you.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Al Baxter.
Are you another realtor?
Yeah, this is Al Baxter, Keller Williams, Arizona Realty. I see you've got your house listed for sale by owner. And
Yes.
I just wanted to call and ask if you're allowing other agents to
No,
come
she
in.
doesn't. She's an expired. It's been on the market for 180 days, Al. Come on, Al. Follow along, Al.
Okay.
So it's going to start like this, Al. I notice your house.
I see the home's been on the market for the last 6 months and the listing just expired. May I ask what your intent is going forward?
I asked myself the same question. I really don't know. My family and I are really disappointed the fact that it's been on the market for 6 months, and the fact that we just came out of a rush during the summer and it didn't sell has us a little bit aggravated. So we don't know what we're going to do at this point.
What was your motivation originally for putting the home on the market?
We wanted to get more space for the kids. Their bodies are getting bigger, they're growing and getting older, and we're too crowded. But at this point, I don't even know if it's worth it.
And is that because of the funds that you would need to acquire something larger?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Is that because you need the X amount of dollars out of your home now in order to buy something larger?
No, it's not a financial thing necessarily. It's just we went through 6 months of making sure the house was ready to go and like clean and organized for all these showings, and nothing ever happened. We received a few offers and they were low, and it's just a big headache. We just don't think it's worth getting into that right now. Maybe I should try, selling it on my own.
Did you do any price adjustments in the last 6 months in your home?
About 3 months in, the realtor did talk to us about dropping it. How much did I list it for?
Right now I'm showing 500,000.
Yeah. So they suggested to drop it for, 445, 435. And they did the open houses. They marketed on social media. They did a video, but it just wasn't moving.
So do you have any thoughts in your own mind on why it maybe didn't move, or you didn't get more traffic?
Honestly, I have no idea. I don't know why. We had the professional photography, we had the open houses. The price was average to everything else that was, on market during that time. So it's not like we had overpriced it, maybe by 15,000, not that much.
And the condition of the home is nice?
It's average. You know, it's not brand new, but it's livable. So
Would
I
it
don't know. I'm just very disappointed.
Would it be okay if I came by and took a look at your home?
What would you do differently? I mean, at this point, because isn't the market supposed to crash or something?
Well, I hope not. There's been some corrections taking place in the market, absolutely.
All right, time. We're down to 1 minute, Al. So we're gonna put a bow on it. All right.
Okay.
Here's a great question to ask that I didn't hear. Actually, two of them. So, Madeline, let me ask you. I know hindsight's 2020. No one's got a DeLorean, but if we could turn back the clock, would you have taken one of the offers that you had on the table, knowing what you know now?
Yeah, I would have. We would
Okay.
have. Mhm.
Okay, so first of all, now we were established regret. Now let's go back to motivation. The other question is Madeline, I'm not saying this could happen, but if somebody knocked on your door today with a check that got you what you needed out of the house, would you still sell?
With the same price that we had previously asked for, or something lower?
No, just with what you need. You know, you've got a need in order to be able to make your move for you and your family to get you to whatever the motivation is.
You know, it's tough to say because now the interest rates are gone up. So we're probably going to get something at 5.7, maybe, or 5.5. And, you know, back in February or even in March, you could still get a 3.6, at least over here in where we're at. So I don't know. It's just
that hindsight's awesome, isn't it? I'd love to be able to turn back the clock and get you more and have it cost less. Do you think the market's working in your favor now or against you? Both prices on the sale of your house and interest rates.
I think the interest rates are working against us for sure. I think the prices have more or less remained the same.
Okay. So buying again and needing a mortgage with the rates working against you, how are you going to feel in a month or 6 months? If the rates
You mean
are
if I
higher?
were to put it back on the market?
Yeah, and the rates are higher.
Well, we wouldn't. We would just deal with the crowded space, maybe take the kids out to the park more often, and just wait till everything lowers next year.
What if it's 5 years?
Do you honestly think it'll be 5 years?
I don't know. My crystal ball broke. If I had it, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation. I'd be on the beach that Julie's on with my boat right behind her and a rum drink with her umbrella. Okay. We just don't know.
That's right. And that's what my husband and I are talking about. We just don't know. So what if there is a chance that next year things maybe not crazy like 2.8, but what if it's at least 4% interest?
Okay. So silly question. I mean, what if you could get your house sold, get into the house you want now, and still get a rate that begin with a 4?
Well, that would make sense to us. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. And that's why we need to meet, because I can show you how to make that happen.
I'm just very respectful of people's time, especially I'm very busy. I have talked to 3 different lenders now so far, and none of them can get me anything. The closest I can get is a 5.5.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a rough idea of how to make that happen after you commit to meet with me so we can go through the whole process. Is that fair? You say, John, I'll meet with you if you can tell me how to do it.
Say yes.
Yes.
Just say yes. You'd be stupid not to say yes. Okay, just say yes. Okay, great. So, Madeline, this is how it works. It's called an interest rate buy down. And there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can do a 2-1 buy down where we buy down your rate 2% for the first year, 1% for the second, and then you get prevailing rates, which is today's rate. Or we just buy down the rate from 5.75 to 4.75, and then it stays that way for the entirety of the loan. There are ways to make that happen. It takes real experts to understand how to make that happen. How many of the people you've been working with to get your home sold and financed on the new one have come up with this plan for you?
I have heard that actually, not from a real estate agent, but I heard it from one of the lenders that we had talked to.
Okay.
We just don't know if we want to come in and go through the trouble of putting it back on the market. That's really our situation. We just don't know if we want to go through that again. And what would make you, is there any guarantee that you could get it sold before the holidays? I mean, because that's coming up soon.
I can guarantee you that I can sell anything between now and the holidays. But that's a question to show you how face to face. We've already covered the fact that we can get your rate down into the 4s. And
Okay.
we've already covered the fact that you would still sell the house if we could do that. So now we need to show you the entire plan, and that's face to face. So today at 4 or tomorrow at 5.
Can I say something?
So can
real
we,
quick?
yeah,
Can
please.
I ask something too? Because like we've had to do this recently with some condos because they're unwarrantable. And so my clients have done, a 10-1 arm, and they wound up getting in the 4s. And their thought process was, we'll just do this for now. There is going to be a refi boom, come back again. May not be a huge boom, but it is going to come back. And then just encourage people, talk to your lenders and see what programs are out there, because you can do a 7-year arm, you can do a 10-year arm. I don't know if you can do anything shorter than a 7. I don't really know. But those are the things that my clients have done that has afforded them to get into what they want. And then they'll just refinance, if not just pay it off. Or you guys are looking to buy a home and you may not be able to pay it off in 10 years, but it gets you into the home at a decent rate as opposed to the 5s, because you can get it into the 4s if you did a 10-1 arm. I think it's 10-1
That comes down to the date the rate, marry the house conversation.
Yeah.
And then the other
I
trick,
was trying
guys.
to take over just.
No, that's fine. So the other trick is if you got a house that's close to the jumbo loans in your area, jumbo loans are in the 4s. Oh, yeah, I understand you want to put 20% down in order to save mortgage insurance. Well, what if we put 10% down? You put that other 10% in the bank. And then in 2 months, you pay the mortgage down by that. And then in 1 year, the mortgage company gets rid of your mortgage insurance because you now have the equity in there. How does that sound? That's a really cheap way to do a buy down, by the way. Anyway, guys, I hope that helped. We ran a little bit over. I just sent a message to Denny. We're going to walk through the pain versus pleasure quadrant next week. Awesome. Sandra, thanks for being such a great sport. Looking
You're
forward to
welcome.
seeing those of you that are going to be in Scottsdale in a month. Looking forward to it. Guys, as always, it's been a pleasure spending some time with you on Friday. We'll see you next week.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Here.
Very good. Good show.